Hello, I'm Hope Logan. I'm an actor on Bold and the Beautiful, and many people really love both me and our Bold and the Beautiful drama. So I've come here to share updates about my beloved Bold and the Beautiful. Everyone, please subscribe and support me. If you do, I will keep coming every day with new updates for you. The battle lines have now been drawn, and there is no sign that Brooke Logan Forrester is ready to surrender. If anything, every passing day seems to push her further toward the edge, where anger eclipses reason and emotion overwhelms judgment. The woman who once prided herself on holding her family together now finds herself consumed by outrage, unable to accept the painful reality unfolding around her. Every setback fuels another emotional explosion, and every perceived betrayal only deepens the wounds she refuses to let heal. The storm raging inside Brooke has become impossible to ignore, and those closest to her are beginning to wonder just how much further she can spiral before everything she has fought to protect comes crashing down around her. As the conflict intensifies, one question begins to linger over everyone involved. Could Brooke's uncontrollable behavior ultimately become the very weapon that destroys her? The breaking point arrived the moment the shocking truth emerged about Hope Logan Spencer's future. News spread that Hope had officially left Forrester Creations behind to build an entirely new chapter with her own Logan fashion line. And Brooke simply couldn't contain the fury boiling inside her. To Brooke, this wasn't merely a business decision or a career move. It felt like a devastating betrayal that cut straight through the heart of her family. Instead of taking time to process the situation, she allowed her emotions to dictate every move she made. Her anger demanded an outlet, and before long, she marched directly toward the person she believed was responsible for tearing everything apart. In Brooke's eyes, Katie Logan Spencer hadn't simply supported Hope's decision, she had stolen her away. And Brooke intended to make her sister answer for it. The confrontation that followed quickly became one of Brooke's most explosive emotional meltdowns in recent memory. The tension between the sisters reached a level neither of them had ever imagined possible, as years of buried resentment, disappointment, and frustration erupted into the open. Brooke's accusations flew without restraint, each word sharper than the last, while Katie desperately tried to stay grounded in reason. But logic had no place in Brooke's state of mind. Her emotions completely overwhelmed her judgment, and the argument escalated with frightening speed until Brooke lashed out in pure rage, smashing a television screen in an uncontrollable burst of fury. In that unforgettable moment, it seemed as though the conflict was no longer confined to harsh words alone. The atmosphere became so volatile that it looked as if the sisters were only seconds away from turning their bitter argument into a full physical confrontation. Only fate, or perhaps perfect timing, prevented disaster from unfolding. Just as the emotional firestorm threatened to explode beyond the point of no return, Hope arrived unexpectedly, interrupting the confrontation before it crossed an irreversible line. Her entrance instantly changed the energy in the room, pulling everyone back from the dangerous edge where anger threatened to replace family forever. Had Hope walked in only moments later, there is little doubt that Brooke and Katie would have descended into an all-out battle unlike anything viewers had witnessed before. The emotional damage had already been done, but Hope's arrival prevented the conflict from becoming something even more tragic. Even so, the wounds left behind by that confrontation would not disappear anytime soon. They would linger beneath every future conversation, quietly poisoning what little remained of the sisters' once unbreakable bond. Katie refused to let the relationship collapse without making one final effort to save it. Rather than matching Brooke's rage with more hostility, she reached out with calm determination, hoping to remind her sister that family should matter more than pride or business rivalries. She tried to appeal to Brooke's heart instead of her anger, encouraging her to see the situation from another perspective and rebuild the connection they had spent a lifetime creating. But Brooke had already closed herself off emotionally. Every attempt Katie made to restore peace was met with stubborn resistance, and every olive branch was pushed aside before it had the chance to heal old wounds. Brooke refused to consider that she might be seeing the situation through the distorted lens of heartbreak. Instead, she remained convinced that everyone else had betrayed her, leaving Katie powerless to reach the sister she barely recognized anymore. From Katie's point of view, however, the accusations made no sense at all. Despite the endless complaints coming from the Forrester family, the Spencers had done nothing unethical or underhanded. Katie had every legal and moral right to use her own family name to launch her fashion house, and no amount of outrage from Brooke or the Forresters could change that simple truth. She wasn't stealing anything from anyone. She was building something new with honesty, determination, and the support of people who believed in her vision. While Brooke saw betrayal, Katie saw opportunity. Where Brooke saw enemies, Katie saw talented people simply searching for another chance after being pushed aside. That opportunity grew even stronger after an extraordinary gesture from Eric Forrester himself. Following the emotional circumstances surrounding his forced retirement celebration, Eric made a decision that surprised many people. He approached Katie personally and signed a contract that allowed her to use his brand new fashion designs. It was a move that carried enormous significance, proving that Katie wasn't relying on deception or manipulation to move forward. She had earned Eric's trust, and with that trust came the freedom to transform those creative designs into the foundation of her growing fashion empire. No matter how loudly Brooke protested, the agreement was legitimate, fair, and entirely within Katie's rights. With new momentum behind her company, Katie also opened her doors to those whom Forrester Creations had cast aside. She welcomed Deke Sharp with the promise of a fresh start after his dismissal, giving him the opportunity to rebuild both his career and his confidence. Hope, too, found a place where she could begin again after feeling mistreated and undervalued by the very company that had once represented her dreams. Katie wasn't interested in revenge. She was offering second chances to people who desperately needed them. As her business continued expanding, even the decision to launch a jewelry collection felt like a completely natural evolution for an ambitious fashion house determined to establish its own identity. Yet every new success only seemed to intensify the bitterness coming from the Forrester camp, making their constant criticism appear increasingly childish and unreasonable. From the outside looking in, public opinion would likely favor the Logans instead of the Forresters. Katie's actions reflected compassion, opportunity, and legitimate business growth, while Brooke's increasingly emotional outbursts painted a very different picture. Behind closed doors, Brooke had been unleashing her fury without witnesses beyond those directly involved, allowing her public image to remain largely intact. But secrets like these rarely stay hidden forever. Every uncontrolled emotional eruption increases the possibility that someone, somewhere, will eventually capture the truth. And once that happens, Brooke may discover that rebuilding her reputation is far more difficult than defending it ever was. That possibility opens the door to an even more dangerous future. Imagine one of Brooke's explosive meltdowns unfolding at precisely the wrong moment, with cameras recording every angry accusation, every reckless action, and every heartbreaking loss of control. A single video spreading beyond private walls could instantly transform a family feud into a public scandal. The sophisticated queen of Forrester Creations could suddenly become the face of emotional instability, leaving the entire company struggling to contain the fallout. Such an event wouldn't simply embarrass Brooke, it could shake public confidence in the prestigious fashion house she has spent years helping build. Sometimes reputations aren't destroyed by enemies. Sometimes they collapse because the truth finally becomes impossible to hide. If the rivalry between Katie and Brooke continues escalating, Katie herself may eventually decide to stop playing defense altogether. Rather than waiting for Brooke's next emotional attack, She could carefully orchestrate a situation designed to expose Brooke's increasingly volatile behavior once and for all. A strategically placed camera, a carefully planned confrontation, or a perfectly timed encounter might provide undeniable proof of Brooke completely losing control. Whether used as leverage behind the scenes or released publicly as part of a calculated sabotage campaign, such footage would possess the power to alter the balance of power forever. One devastating recording could shift public sympathy entirely toward Team Logan, while plunging Forrester Creations into one of its biggest public relations disasters in years. In a world where perception often matters as much as reality, Brooke's own emotions could become the most dangerous enemy she has ever faced. As this emotional war continues to intensify, one thing becomes increasingly certain. The conflict between Brooke Logan Forrester and Katie Logan Spencer is nowhere near its conclusion. Their rivalry has evolved far beyond a simple disagreement between sisters, transforming into a battle fueled by wounded pride, broken trust, family loyalty, and the relentless pursuit of justice, as each woman defines it. Every encounter threatens to ignite another explosion. Every decision carries the potential to deepen old scars, and every emotional confrontation pushes them further away from the possibility of reconciliation. The road ahead promises shocking twists, painful revelations, and consequences that could forever reshape both families and the future of Forrester Creations itself. Until the next chapter unfolds, viewers can only watch as emotions continue to burn hotter, alliances continue to shift, and one devastating moment waits patiently around the corner, ready to change everything.